Well, once again, we are witnessing an event that is stopping us in our tracks. I'm talking about the deadly condo collapse near Miami. To talk about the issues the families of the victims are going through and how to find hope through crisis, we're going to turn to our mental health and wellness expert, Jane Marks. And Jane, it's always great to see you. Wish we didn't have to talk under these circumstances about this situation, because I can only imagine what the family members are going through, waiting to find out if one of their relatives, their loved ones, is still alive in that rubble. But in your professional opinion, what are they going through? What are they likely experiencing right now?
You know, besides shock and emotional numbness, you know, the interesting thing about this whole experience is that what we know is that waiting for bad news, Mike, is so much more stressful than actually receiving the news. You know, when you look at the research, it says, you know, that waiting can create anxiety and depression, confusion and fear, and, you know, withdrawal from others. And some people even experience survival guilt. And by that I mean, you know, they just wish that they had done something that might have changed the outcome so that they weren't in that position. And, you know, also what happens is that you see emotional vulnerabilities and you see physical vulnerabilities like sleep disruption and loss of appetite, concentration problems. And you know what, there's even some research that talks about pain, you know, intensity of pain and even difficulty urinating. So these are very much like post-traumatic stress as well as psychological shock.
Jane, I deal with anxiety. I know what it's like just for that. And I can imagine, once again, what it's like for these family members going through this situation, because sometimes you just want to know, because you need that closure to put this behind you so that you can start the healing process. So what can families do to get past this?
Well, you know, first of all, you have to accept the fact that this is real, and you don't want to assume that this is the worst. You want to take steps to feel like you're more in control. You want to keep busy. Remember, the greatest weapon against waiting is staying busy and distraction. So you want to try and resume normal routines, acknowledge that worry is real, and ask for help. You've got to ask for help. And remember, they're there to help you. And the best thing you can do is practice extreme self-care. We talk about that all the time: sleep, diet, movement, for sure.
Yeah, you keep going there and you hope that there's a miracle that happens. Sharon and I talked about this at the beginning of the show, that, you know, there have been, you know, situations where somebody survived 17 days in a pile of rubble before. We know that even at the World Trade Center, there were people being pulled out a week afterwards. So what do you do to remain hopeful in times like this? Because every time they pull a body out, you're hoping that it's not one of your relatives, but you continue to have that hope until there is no hope. What can you do?
Absolutely. You know, while you're there, because, you know, you see groups of people there, you want to build supportive networks if you can, because there, you know, there are plenty of people around you who are also going through the same thing. So if you can find a sense of, you know, we're in this together. But it's also important to, you know, have a sense of what is your purpose, and that'll keep you grounded. Always think, all right, let's pivot back to my strengths and what my purpose is. Now, I'll share something with you that I tell my patients, Mike, and that is so helpful in situations like this, because the waiting is just horrible. But I have my patients write love letters to their loved ones, and whether it's a love letter to a husband or a child, or even to a grandparent, or suppose you need to bring closure to like a parent, you know, where you may have said something or done something that you feel guilt about. This opportunity to write a love letter gets you grounded, gets you outside of your head, gets you thinking about the very positive experiences that you had with your loved one. And again, you know, it helps with the waiting, because you know what? If you have to bring it to closure, you have done your self-reflection during that time.
Absolutely. Keep that hope alive. And once again, I mean, if you have that spiritual belief, I continue to pray.
Absolutely.
And that always brings me at ease there. We're thankful for you. We're thankful, God, to you, our health and wellness expert, Jane Marks. We really appreciate you. Thanks for starting your day with us here this morning on BNC.